we have two main objectives. One is to add tags so that we can simply classify each note, and then the other one is to add smart filters to work with those tags. If we get time, we might add some date filtering or sorting based on the creation date or update date. But we're really just going to focus on the tags and smart filters to begin with. So this is where we pick up our existing application. You can type in, of course, your new note here, click add idea, and of course the existing notes pop up, there in the bottom, and each note has a delete option. So let's look at the prompt we're going to use to add tags. So start off by just reminding it what we have. We have an existing notes app with basic CRUD functionality. Each note currently has at least an ID, title, actual content of the note, created at, updated at. Although I don't actually think we added updated at, but I'll leave that in there. We want to add a very lightweight tagging system. We definitely do not want to refactor the whole thing. And we have some basic requirements and constraints. So we want to add tags field to each note, which will basically be an array of string. We want to allow users to, of course, add and remove tags when creating or editing notes, either one. Tags need to be simple text. We're not going to make, we're not going to color them or mark them up in any sort of way. We're going to store the tags with the note data, and we're going to display tags as small chips, essentially, underneath the within the note box that we saw. And we do not want to break the existing notes that exist. So, I mean, if tags are not present, that's fine. It should be able to handle that. The constraints we have is we want it to keep the changes very minimal. It just encourages it not to rewrite large sections. We do not want to introduce any new database tables unless absolutely necessary. So we really shouldn't here because it's not absolutely necessary. Database principles, in some ways you could say like, yeah, we really should introduce a new table of tags, but we'll see what the AI agent decides to do. And we want to preserve all of the existing back and forth between the front end and the back end with minimal changes. And then, of course, we're telling it to please update the data model as necessary, update the UI as necessary for creating and editing, and of course the display UI as well, and then explain back to us exactly what changes were made. So I'm going to copy this, flip over here, and paste it, and press enter and let it do its work. So we can see it's starting with the backend, right? Index.js. Making some more changes there. So it looks like it added the data components first, and of course then added the endpoints. Now it's moved on to the app JSX. So the front end. And now it's updating the style sheet. Notice that if you're following along with what was happening there, that as it went through and kind of checked what it had done, it went back and normalized the get calls. So I think that's great. So then it gives us an overview of what has happened here. Summary of changes, what it did to the backend. It created a post to put in the get for API ideas. And then on the front end, it added the tag input, the tag display, and the edit functionality. And then, of course, it added styling. So let's take a quick look and see what that looks like. So now let's add a new note. Do this. Update notes app with tags. Notice tags can be here separated. So this would be a feature, and categorizing. We'll go with that. And you can see update notes app with tags, feature, categorizing. I like the way that it's stylized. Those, you call them different things. I would probably initially call them pills, but that's probably from Tableau days. But they're calling them, sorry, not they. We're calling them chips in the prompt. But anyway, that's those little buckets there. And then we have edit and delete. So if I hit edit, notice there's a new interface down here at the bottom. And let's see. Necessary display edits. We'll just hit save. So we see pick that up. Let's put another one in here. Next, we should add smart filtering. So here, this will also be a feature related to tags, filtering. And then we'll click add idea. There you go. So we can see we successfully added the tags. So we can pop over here and toggle. Let's see where we are here. Quit that. There we go. So let's see what it notices. So it does realize that all three of those files have been updated. I think that's great. That's exactly what we want to happen. So we'll do get add dot. So so now it basically added everything, staged them, if you will, and then we'll do a get commit -m, which is basically our comment here. Add tags to notes. That's what we did. Great. And then get status. Okay, great. So there's nothing that's unsaved, if you will, uncommitted to our versioning system. Okay, so now let's pull this back up and go to the prompt for the smart filters. Let's add that next. Okay, so we're reminding it that we now have notes with tags. Explain that that is an array of strings. Tell it that we want to add smart filtering, and here are the requirements. We want to add text search input. That's going to filter the notes by title or content, either one. We're going to add tag-based filtering, of course. It needs to be client-side. They should combine logically, right? So text plus tags together. Filtering should update instantly as the inputs change. If no filters are selected, then of course all nodes need to show. For the UX, we want to keep the UI simple and clean. We want to have the tag filters be that they can be checkboxes, pills, or drop down. Show activity filters clearly. Show active filters clearly. And the constraints, of course, is do not refactor the entire list component, keep state management simple, and reuse existing components where possible. And then again, we ask it to please implement the filtering logic, update the UI, and explain the filtering approach in simple terms back to us. So again, we can just paste this. I know it's multiple lines, lots of bullets, but we can paste that entire thing in as one prompt. And then again, let it go off and make its changes. You can see there that when it first started looking around, it explored 2 files, and then it's going back to make those changes. So it really just went out to figure out like what files do I need to update. And of course, index.js and app.jsx likely candidates. Looks like all the changes that it's making so far are just in the app side. Well, there were a couple there at the bottom, the summary, the index.js, app.jsx, and the app CSS. All right, so let's click over here and see what we've got. Great. Okay, so here is the search part up here. I can type in add. Notice that is picking up content here, right? Might back that off. It goes away. Notice that it chose, since we gave it an option, and that's one of the things I want to highlight here. In this particular filter, we did something similar in the last one. In this particular prompt, and we did something similar in the last one. We gave it a choice. And if you look here at the UX, we say that tag filters can be checkboxes, pills, or a dropdown. And clearly it chose the pills. So what will happen is as this grows, it's going to give us more and more and more pills. And we may find or decide that we don't like that we want it to be some sort of dropdown. You know, right now they are alphabetized, and to be honest, I didn't tell it to do that. I'm thinking that it probably chose to do that on its own, which I think shows how, in a sort of like intuitive, it tends to generate the code for us. So let's see. Next, add smart filtering. I guess there's nothing that would bring up both, is there? And there's no word search that would bring up both. Now, feature will keep both of those, right? So let's add a new one. Add date, sort, and filtering. And we're going to add this, of course, as a feature. And we'll add it as filtering. And yeah, let's leave it at that. Okay, so now we have all three of these notes. And if I do feature, they all stay there. If I do filtering, notice it's down to 2. And then if I type in filter, that also takes it down to just both the ones that have the word filtering in it. So the smart filtering is working really well. And honestly, I'm quite pleased with where it is right now. Okay, so let's take just a few more minutes and see if we can add a sort and filter option for the date. So notice the prompt for this is that we've already got notes with tags and smart filtering. So we want to be able to add the date sorting and filtering. I don't really need this type of prompt. I was kind of typing my notes, if you will. So we don't need that part. So in requirements, we've got sorting, allows sorting notes by last updated default, created date. Sorting, of course, should work alongside the existing filters, so it's not in lieu of them. Also, we've put filtering optional if easy. Add a simple date range filter from date to date, and then filter based on create at or update at. And then in the UX, keep controls minimal, and default behavior should feel sensible, right? So like intuitive. Constraints, again, avoid heavy date libraries, no backend changes required here. And then, of course, implement the sorting and the filtering for dates and explain, the different trade-offs depending on what it chooses to do where we've given it the options. So I'm going to copy. Oh, actually, before we do that, yeah, let's do status. I want to see the status real quick. We can see that those files were changed. I'm going to add those. Great. And then we'll commit them. And add smart filtering. Yeah, I'll just leave it. Okay, great. And then if we go back to get status, yep, all up to date. Great. So I'm going to paste the prompt in here. So it's updated everything. Let's check over here and see what looks different. All right. So you can see here, you can manually type it or you can select from the calendar. Let's see. Add tags to notes. Feature tags. I think that's all. And then add smart filtering to notes. This is going to be feature filtering tags. Put notes and put them all in there. And then I'm going to say add date, sort, and filtering to notes. There we go. And this will be feature date, filtering, sorting. Okay. Now, of course, these are all still working. Notice it added this clear filters on its own, which is pretty nice. Notice also here, this is our sort, right? Sort by last updated or created date. I can't really tell anything because I have all those. We'll have to look and see if it's really doing anything. The truth is, it doesn't seem to have a sort order, right? Like ascending, descending, earliest to latest, that kind of thing. So it did not add that, but we do have the date filter options now. Since it's by actual date, probably not going to be able to see this work until the next demo because all of these are for today. So let's see. Let's do flip back over here and we need to add some form of direction to the sort, to the date sort feature. Ascending, descending, or whatever makes the most sense for dates. So let's give it a second. Notice how it is reading through the app JSX. Now it's making some adjustments. Reading through the style sheet, making some adjustments. Okay, finished up. Great. Click back over here. There it is. Look at that. Nothing to it. Now, the other thing, too, is we'll probably wait and tackle this on another iteration, but a couple of thoughts. I think next time you maybe want to make sure that there is a field for updated and created dates. And then we might want to try changing to edit and delete buttons to just be icons and kind of see how that goes. So anyway, so in today's demonstration, we were able to add tags and smart filters and sorting and filtering by date for each of the nodes. All right. See you tomorrow.